meet my bride. Let's go for a ride in my newfangled automobile. Just where we will go, nobody knows, but it's sure a great way to feel. Behind the wheel of the speed meter steel, it's my newfangled automobile.
Hello and welcome to Vintage Car History. I'm Wild Bill. In the first 40 years after the car was invented, hundreds of companies that made vehicles of some sort got into the car business. Bicycle makers, carriage and coach builders, locomotive manufacturers. If you already built something with wheels, you might as well make cars too. And in the USA, there was a company that made vehicles, heavy industrial traction engines for farm and industrial use, that decided to try their hand at making cars, and did so at the first Indianapolis 500. This company, of course, was J.I. Case. The company was founded by Jerome Increase Case in 1842 as the J.I. Case Threshing Machine Company, settling in Racine, Wisconsin. Case had designed a new type of hand threshing machine, and it proved quite successful. As the company grew, so did the threshers Case was making, and by the 1860s, large horse-drawn threshing machines were being sold across the U.S. and Canada. The company manufactured their first steam engine in 1869, a small one designed to power one of their thresher models. They continued to build more and larger steam engines, integrating them into their threshers. In 1876, they built their first traction engine, which proved a success. In 1878, Case sent a number of their steam-powered threshers to the Paris World's Fair, where it won first place in the Farm Machinery Innovation Division. This success led to Case becoming a major exporter of farm equipment, with Case threshers and traction engines being sold in Europe, South America, and Australia. By 1900, J.I. Case Company was the largest builder of steam engines in America, their engines powering their own machines as well as being sold to other manufacturers to be purposed for whatever application was at hand. Their products could be seen on farms, in logging camps, at various mines, and in factories across the world. Yet these were, for the most part, big machines, and Case knew that there was a market for smaller, relatively inexpensive traction engines and tractors for use on family farms and homesteads, and so they began to come up with some designs. Case began to make small internal combustion engines in 1895. Not for powering vehicles, but rather as portable power plants to operate other equipment. It wasn't until 1904 that Case made their first gas-powered farm traction engine, using a hit-and-miss single-cylinder oil-fired engine with hot-tube ignition. These proved quite popular in the U.S. and Europe, and they sold quite well. And beginning in 1910, Case began to make small farm tractors with four-cylinder T-head engines, and these were also quite popular. Yet there was interest in the management of the company. The founder, J.I. Case, passed away in 1891, to get into the car business. But rather than start automobile production from scratch, they looked around instead for an existing car maker to purchase and take over. And as it turned out, they found one in their own backyard. The company was Pierce Racine. Andrew Pierce had founded his firm, the Racine Gas Engine Company, in 1887, making portable internal combustion engines. Now, to be clear, Andrew Pierce was not affiliated with the Pierce Company in Buffalo, New York, of Pierce Arrow fame. Anywho, in 1901, Andrew established Pierce Racine as an automaker and began to offer his designs for sale. His first production car being an 8-horsepower high-wheeler with detachable seats. He sold 20 of them in their first year and soon began to expand his car lineup. Over the next few years, Pierce Racine added more cylinders, horsepower, and price to their lineup. By 1905, they had 3 different 2-cylinder engines available from 12 to 16 horsepower, as well as 2 straight 4s of 24 and 30 horses. In 1907, they introduced their Model D, a very pricey 40 horsepower 4-cylinder touring car costing some $2,600 new. The following year, they offered several touring cars of various horsepower, ranging from 2,000 to 3,000 apiece. The sales were modest of these cars, and so when Case approached him in 1909 with the suggestion that they buy his company, Andrew took the offer. Pierce Racine was purchased by Case in 1910, being renamed to simply Case. Production and sale of Case cars was in full swing by 1911. To get the word out about the new Case models, a large advertising campaign was launched in major newspapers across America, and they toned down the pricing a bit to make them more attractive to the middle market. And of course, they entered 3 of them in the first Indianapolis 500 in 1911. Unfortunately, none of them finished the race. 2 had problems with the steering, while the third was totaled in an accident on the track. Nonetheless, they did attract attention, and Case cars began to sell. Case would continue to offer touring cars, family sedans, and even some sports-bodied cars through to 1927, at which time they ceased car production to focus more efforts on tractors and such. Case cars were well designed and built. A bit pricey, but you got what you paid for. A comfortable, if not stately automobile that absolutely did not drive or ride anything like a tractor. Thanks for watching Vintage Car History, and we'll see you next week. Peace.